Hello, and welcome to Two Queens Checking In. I'm Theda Valley with my beautiful co-host.
Hi. What's up? Why am I always stupid?
Are you tired today, Maxine?
I'm tired of Earth
Same.
and all humans in it.
Same, girl, same.
Same. It's
oh,
like,
my Lord.
Yeah, it's just dumb. That's all.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of just sitting here and you're watching like the most insane like reality TV show ever, except for
I'm
it's real
telling
life.
you. Yes.
And you're like, wait, this is real? Oh shit.
Yeah. And we're involved in this shit show reality show that's going on.
Lord.
Yeah.
Woo. Wow. Ms. Maxine Factor, who's ready to talk about Drag Race All-Stars 5, the finale.
I'm glad. So we actually purposely haven't chatted about it yet, so we can talk about it now.
Yes.
Fresh and live for all y'all. But, hi, Danny boy.
Hey, Danny boy.
A good Danny boy.
Oh, me too. Are you a ginger Danny boy? That's Maxine's flavor.
Yes. If so, please follow me on Instagram at Maxine Factor.
Oh shit! So yeah, this week.
Yes. So yeah, I'm pissed. That's all I can say. I'm over it. I'm done. Kaput.
Okay, why are you pissed?
You mean to tell me that Jujubee couldn't have just been handed that crown just to make her happy and let her go on with her day?
Okay, look. If I'm being real honest with myself,
yeah.
It's hard to do. It is hard to dive deep into that well of truth within yourself.
We do like to lie to ourselves quite a bit, so I understand that.
Yeah, my heart wanted Jujubee to win more than anything on earth.
Yeah.
But Shea Coulee, she did step up her pussy on more than one occasion and turn it out above and beyond what Jujubee did.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to backtrack for a hot second here.
And also, just 1 second, for those of you who are joining who don't know, we're talking about Drag Race All-Stars Season 5, the finale. And the fact that Miss Shea Coulee, stepped up her pussy and won the game.
Yes, she did. But, okay, so I follow this guy on YouTube which I actually thoroughly enjoy this. He takes the seasons of Drag Race and uses mathematical equations to figure out who actually should win.
Oh, shit. Bringing math into the game.
Yeah. And, I'm a big math geek, so that totally, turns me up.
Yes.
Here. But, to give you an example, there was one episode that he'd done in the past that was, he used the math to show how, for season 2 of All Stars, it was favoritism towards Alaska for her to win.
Right.
And not that she actually deserved to win, per se, but why they did put it in her favor and et cetera, et cetera.
I agree with that, yeah.
So anyway, this person, he actually did 5 different equations to represent 5 different ways of looking at who should win the show.
Okay.
And technically, with his math and based on the majority fact, Ms. Cracker was the one who really should have won. Mm. And I enjoyed he threw in a little bit of shade in it because he goes, well, by this standard and definition, Ms. Cracker takes the most collective wins based on blah, blah, blah. And he goes, but we all know they'll never give it to her. Which I was like, yeah, good point. But anyway, so he does this whole thing. And then technically Shea should have been in second and Juju should have had basically no chance to win.
Yeah.
Based on these whole number of things. I'm living in my delusion. Similar to All Stars 1 when the joke kept going around that they gave it to Chad because RuPaul just wanted to make Chad happy, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but
and I feel they should have given it to Jujubee just to keep me happy.
It's true. I mean, Jujubee is beloved, and like
Yes.
you know, everything she does is iconic and amazing. Yeah. But I mean, when I was being real with myself, Shay did step it up.
She did.
You know,
she did. She deserved it.
She did.
She, by all means, but I don't care. I'm just going to sit there and bitch, gripe, and moan.
I'm going to be mad still, God damn it.
I told one of my friends locally on Friday afternoon, I said, I'm just letting you know that if Miss Jujubee does not win this competition, even though I know by definition she doesn't deserve to, but I'm like, if she doesn't win, I'm driving my fat ass to LA and I'm going to the Wild Presents headquarters and I'm going to have a strongly worded conversation with them.
We are going to have a strongly worded conversation.
Yes. I'm going to get up in their business and be like, listen, please and thank you, Jujubee deserves a crown. Like, even if it's not because she actually deserved to win this, but because she's Jujubee.
Can we just give her a goddamn crown already?
Yeah. Like,
God damn it.
Okay, this is the way I look at it. They could have crowned Shea Coulee as this season's winner of Drag Race All-Stars 5, and then Jujubee could have won a crown for being Jujubee. Like, that's all, you know.
Okay, somebody named Specca Mishamia. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you. I was going to try to say Specca Mishima. Specca Mishima. Specca Mishima. Either way, I enjoy it because I like word porn here.
Welcome, Spectra.
So, yes, welcome.
Hello.
I have a feeling you're probably offending them because you're butchering their name. Just saying.
I'm not trying to.
Yeah, you say you're sorry.
I'm just ignorant. Sorry.
You are, but say you're sorry.
Oh my God. Well,
so anyway.
I guess we'll just have to live with it because it is what it is. Shea Coulee's the winner,
but I may still drive to LA to have that strongly worded conversation.
All right. Well, pick
I might
me
even
up on the way.
Yes, I might even use 5 and 6 letter words.
I'm out of the way. I know, but still pick me up.
Yes. Well, if I'm going to drive all the way from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, what would be the actual 12-hour drive to you?
Exactly. It's not that bad.
At that point, yeah.
Well, one of the things that I did want to talk about today, speaking of where I live, and things that thanks Corona, things that are going down around us.
The bullshittery of it all.
Yeah, the bullshittery of it all, my dears. Mm-hmm. So, I live right outside of Portland.
Yes.
And we've had 59 days of riots, or not riots. I'm calling them protests. They're not riots.
Well, they've turned riot thanks to Trump.
Well, yes, they have turned riot because now they're, snatching people off the streets and firing, munitions and tear gas into the crowds that are just standing there singing. But that is something that I just want to kind of, in the realm of weird life right now, let people know to please find live streams and see what's really happening.
Yeah.
What the news is putting out is not what's happening here. There are really great people, Veterans for Peace, Halo Space Media, that are live streaming every night from the downtown. There are, I know Veterans for Peace is more of he's definitely more of kind of a middle of the road. So he has no agenda. He's just going and filming. Mm-hmm. And they're beating people who are peacefully protesting. They are doing horrible, violent things, and it's really bad.
It's literally becoming like a Russian war zone in the United States, where we don't need to be having any of this militant violence happening towards innocent bystanders, all in the name of fascism.
Yeah, it looks like fucking
That
Serbia.
sounded like I was smart.
Oh my God, it's so dead. I love that.
You're welcome.
But y'all, it does look like Serbia in downtown Portland right now, every night. And we've got people like on the ground that are telling the truth and showing what's actually happening. And people like, there's a 52-year-old history professor from Lewis and Clark College. She, obviously was there singing with a crowd.
I saw that post that you put about that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that was ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what's happening is that, these people that are nonviolent, doing nothing but like literally singing really badly because they're white, because Portland's mostly white. So most of them got no rhythm. They're singing bad. Now that may be a crime to some. Well, I'm gonna tell you, it's not a crime worth bringing out brute force, y'all. Come on now.
And it's kind of ironic too, in my opinion, because you actually said it best, because Portland is very white.
It is.
But at the same time, it's very impressive to me to see a large collective of white people who live in a very white area who are sitting there saying, you know, listen, this isn't us, but we're not having it.
Yeah.
And it's just, and it's funny because of the fact that this right here to me is showing that those white people who think that Trump gives a shit about them, he don't. Because there's a whole bunch of whiteness going on around the Portland area who are getting their asses attacked by his people because they're not following his way. That's gross.
Yep, exactly. The second that you stand up for anything outside of the norm of, you know, the hetero cis white male agenda,
yes,
you know, you are now an enemy of the state. So standing up for Black lives.
And, you know? and even being the hetero norm, cis male, exactly how you said, if you're not a billionaire, he still don't give a shit about you. Just saying. So he's tricking all you dumb motherfuckers.
Right? Like, I mean, how stupid can you be? Like, you know, they're out there and they are treating the white people just like they've been treating the Black folk for all these years. And, you know,
hey, Claire.
What's going on, Jan?
Got a new friend joined us.
So, you know, just be aware, check out Veterans for Peace. It is very non-biased media, and you can see what's really happening here in Portland. It's not good. And now they're deploying to other cities. So be vigilant, because fascism is on the march, y'all. It's coming.
And honestly, I'm so sick of seeing and hearing these, I'm going to just say in quotes, people who put up these obvious fake headline things that are like trying to make it look like Black people are against the Black Lives Matter marches and et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, dude, it's like, you know what, listen, bitch, we know you're pretending to give a shit and acting like you care by saying, I don't understand why it isn't all lives matter and not just Black lives. It's like, okay, stop your games. Stop your shit. We're on to you. We know you're just trying to validate your own racism and ignorance. So stop your games. Do some research. And instead of watching the 3 seconds of the clip out of the whole 12-minute video that make you look like the white supremacists aren't doing their ignorant due diligence, and go, but look, there's a Black man who wasn't harmed. Like, stop it. Just stop it.
Thank you. One. That's great.
I mean, seriously, I know somebody on my Facebook feed. That's all I'm going to say. No names involved. I'll share it on my, no, I'm kidding.
Gonna call you out.
Homegirl puts this whole, like, formalized statement together the one day about the whole, well, I don't understand why the whole issue is about saying all lives matter, and by just saying Black lives, that's saying blah blah blah, and this and she goes on this whole rant trying to validate her ignorance. And I'm reading this entire thing, and all I could think of to myself while I'm reading this is, you know exactly damn well why this is the case. You're just pretending dumb so that way the 3 Black people that you have on your friend list, so you look like you're down with the brown,
right,
don't look at you as, oh, she just doesn't get it. No, you're an ignorant racist bitch.
Yep.
So stop playing dumb. Stop playing supportive, because you ain't. You're supporting the devil. Why am I in such a rant today, girl?
Supporting the devil because we're angry, because we're tired.
I'm telling you. Because
I've been stuck in my goddamn house for 4 months, and I'm tired.
And it's all because of them that none of us are getting better.
Right?
So, yeah.
I'm tired, goddammit.
I hate all humanity. I'm begging and pleading now that we're on the airwaves right now, because I've been doing it out loud in my backyard. I want my cousins from my home galaxy to just come right back down, pick my fat ass up, and do a whole little rapture piece for me where I can float heavenly into the sky back into my spaceship and go home.
Oh, girl, you can stop and pick me up on the way, please.
I will get you, girl.
I need to go home.
You. Yes, I'm over it. I don't like this place anymore.
Is there going to be a lot of good celestial dick up there once I get there, though?
Honey, it's It's the home planet that I rule from. Hello.
Okay, I just didn't know if they were all going to be gay. You like straight boys though, so that's okay. Good. Okay, hold up.
Yeah.
Let me think this through.
I was going to say Theda, Maxine, Theda. Let's introduce
hold
ourselves.
Up. I had to think this through for a minute. I got you now.
Good. Now we're back.
Yes. My girl loves them straight boys. So yes, the whole planet.
So any of you straight boys listening, if you want to try something different.
Yeah, but is the whole planet ginger?
Fine, I'll make sure there's a couple Nordic Viking gods for you. Jeremy, I said I'll make sure there's some Nordic Viking gods for you.
Oh yes, thank you, Lord Jesus, give me them.
Actually, no. You like Samoans the best, isn't it?
I will take the Nordic gods. Thank you.
Well, I mean, just something other than ginger,
Yeah, I'm not picky. Yeah. I will take those Nordic gods. Yeah. I'll take a Samoan. I'll take whatever you want to throw at me. I'm not picky. Screaming the bottom of the barrel, girl. I'll take it. Have Dick will travel, then I'm on board.
Good. And just so you know, my planet is reptile people, so just you didn't hear
that two-pronged approach.
Yes, you got some reptile dick.
Oh, girl, though, did you know you can find that on the internet?
I'm sure you can.
There's websites, and people be making dildos based on fantasy creatures.
Oh, you mean the dragon dildos?
Yeah, but they also, they make all kinds. It's not just dragon.
I know, but
alien ones and two-pronged.
I'm referring to your friend, the dragon one.
Yes, there is a whole website dedicated to anything that your little mind could come up with.
Anything in the fantasy realm.
Yeah, anything in the basilisk. They've got basilisk peen. Who I never even thought to think what a basilisk dick would look like.
What the fuck? Wait, hold on. What's a basilisk?
Basilisk is that thing that has poisonous teeth and it's kind of lizard-like and
what?
Yeah. They got
How did I miss this?
Yes, girl. They got a basilisk dildo.
Do you think they have a Komodo dragon one?
I don't know.
Because they're also very poisonous too. Oh.
Yeah, it's more fantasy, and I don't know that Komodo dragons are known for.
It's my fantasy. Shut up.
But I'm gonna Google that so that it's in my.
Yeah, please do, because we like to add to your weirdness. Komodo dragon dildos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, now I found something really interesting. It's called a Komodo electrical dildo, but doesn't look like it would belong to a Komodo.
It has the word Komodo. We're down. So
yeah. Oh Lord, I found a lot of interesting things. Okay, moving on.
Okay. Well, actually, I want to stick to that topic because of us talking about the fantasy dildos.
Yes.
I want you to share with us the little news clip that you found about the. What would you call it? Maybe the world's largest dildo?
Yeah. So, with everything going on in the world, I just keep seeing weirder and weirder shit every day,
Literally.
One of the things that one of my friends recently posted, because I lived in Las Vegas for 10 years, so I have a lot of friends still there, and it came across on their news was that a masked thief made off with a giant 3-foot 40-pound dildo from Deja Vu Love Boutique in Las Vegas.
Ooh, Deja Vu.
They say that he just picked it up and walked out with it. And there's video of him, he's masked and he just snatches it up.
Can I just say, so this is kind of off subject, but speaking of the video that they had with that whole news story, because again, you sent me the link this past week to look at.
Yeah.
I watched the video and so I know I'm supposed to be watching this video to watch this man, stealing this massively huge dildo. But what I'm actually seeing this entire video is, well, that's a really nice porn store.
It is a really nice one because I've been there.
And let me tell you, the ones in Ohio need to step their shit up because they're literally dirty, grungy. I feel like when you walk in, you're going to catch chlamydia.
Oh,
just
really?
from being in the room. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess when I lived in Ohio, I wasn't old enough to have ever gone to one.
No, they're gross.
So I didn't know, but yeah, the stores in Vegas are really nice. And like you feel like, and in California too, there's a lot of, I took you to some California.
No, you're right. We did go to the Chi Chi LaRue porn store in West Hollywood that night. Yeah. And that was very decadent there, I will say. But this one was just very nice. So anyway, back to the giant dildo.
You know, it's really funny is I got married in Las Vegas. And
did you get married in that porn store?
Did not. Because
that's dumb.
Funny story about Las Vegas is that you have to be 21 to go into any of the sex stores.
Oh.
So I got married at 18, but I could not go into this. And I tried to go to the sex store, like, you know, the first week I was married, but we couldn't get in because we didn't know you had to be 21 to go to those. So you are old enough to get married in Vegas, but not old enough to fuck.
That's very interesting.
Or at least get kinky.
Well,
definitely, you know, they just want vanilla sex until you're 21.
You can smoke, get married, and get yourself killed in the name of the USA, but you cannot be kinky until you're
21. No kink until 21,
kink allowed.
Bitches.
That's hysterical.
Yeah. So I think that people are getting a little bit desperate in Corona for some extracurricular activity because, I mean, what's he going to do with that dick?
Yeah. Well, okay. Actually, that was the funniest part. The whole news article, it says about, you know, this man selling. And then at the end of it, it says, still at large.
Why, yes, it is.
But my thought was, how is he still missing? Because after you cram a 3-foot-long dildo up your asshole, I think you need to be in the hospital. Or you're going to be... Or you're going to be walking around with the biggest, or you're going to be walking around with the biggest gaping asshole in the world that, like, all you have to do is walk down the street and they're going to be like, he stole it. You know, like,
it'd be like a vortex sucking in objects as he walks by.
Exactly. Like he's his own personal black hole.
Right. You know? And they'd be like, that guy right there, it's got to be him.
Yeah. I was just like, that's super fun. Like when I saw that part of it, that again, how I fixate on the wrong things. I fixated on this still at large. And I'm like, well,
yes, he is.
Clearly you're not trying to look hard enough. So
yeah, I mean, you know what? If you're brave enough to slide down that, you deserve it.
Exactly.
You can have it.
Well, and that's the other thing. Okay, so suppose they do catch him. Are they going to take it back?
I mean, I suppose they can sanitize it.
Yeah, but they do have a very strict no return policies on those types of objects. Dude, am I like really just that gross that I
think it'll go into police evidence. It's fine.
Okay. And then, But I mean, seriously, like, oh, I stole your 3-foot long dildo. Here's it back. Please put it back on the shelf with a price tag. Are you going to reduce it, like slightly used? You know, like.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna have to cut it and call it a loss that they lost their $1,200 3-foot long dildo and just get them another one because that one is no longer in service.
Yeah, because something happened there. So
yes, and along with that, what else did I see that was really weird this week? Thanks to Corona. In Canada, that lady won the lottery.
Canada.
I didn't even know they had the lottery in Canada. But yeah, I guess they have the lot. I don't know.
Hi, sweetie.
Hi.
Did Theda Did you hear Theda's apology to you, by the way, for butchering your name?
I was sorry. Jeez.
Well, I just want to make sure because I'm not out to hurt some poor person's feelings with your rude.
I ain't trying to hurt nobody neither. I'm just. I can't even say my own name right half the time.
You really can't.
But there was there's somebody, they won the lottery in Canada, and because of coronavirus, they had a robot come up and deliver her the check. People, it was like Johnny Five is alive, just like kind of booped in and was like check. And she had pictures of her and the robot, and she's like all smiling, cheesy grin, like
no,
she won the lottery. She wasn't smiling. Oh, because she had a mask on. That's why she wasn't smiling. I forgot.
Oh, girl, no, I wasn't saying that. I was asking you. But
yeah, no, she wasn't smiling, but she was posing with the robot. I can't tell if she was smiling because she had a mask on.
Oh,
good job, her. But you don't need to wear a mask with the robot, just so you know. But
well, but then again, who was taking the picture? Was it another robot or was it a person?
I don't know. So, I mean, if they brought out one robot, who's to say they didn't bring out a whole army?
So, when we want to sit there and talk about social distancing, let's make sure bitch is doing it right first,
I mean, why can't we get some more robots? This is a brilliant idea.
Honey, I'm trying to escape this planet. Do you really think I have an issue with a robot?
I mean, I don't want to try and I understand there's a whole thought process behind it. Like if we want to go down that rabbit hole of we're gonna take people's jobs with robots and all of that, but for right now, if we got robots that are smart enough to roll out and be giving people checks, let's get some robots up in here. I need a pedicure real bad.
Yeah. Well. And here's another thought process though. If the robots end up growing some sort of intelligence that are able to make them self-sufficient, sustaining, and taking over the human race's occupations as we know it, doesn't that just mean we get to basically walk around acting like fools all day because the robots got our back?
Oh my God, right? I don't have to do anything because the robots will just do it.
Yeah, what's the point,
Wait a minute, why is this a bad idea?
That's what I mean. I like sitting on the couch watching TV all day, and I prefer not to have to, get up, walk to my desk and start working.
I mean, and most people have children to do those things.
Yeah.
But, that's annoying.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
So,
who wants a kid?
Kids, you get a robot.
Exactly. It's life's perfect. So,
God, can we please up the game on this? Let's pause on any other research that we're doing, aside from the coronavirus, and let's funnel that into Mickey robot butlers.
Exactly.
Because I'm going to need this.
And I have to say, go Canada, because once again, while we're running around like babbling idiots in the grand old US of A, they're at least doing the right thing, the smart thing. They're giving this woman her $500,000 check through the hands of a robot, so she don't have to worry about catching no funkies off of it because it was clearly sanitized prior to, come on.
I know. Canada, that's where it's at.
I told you last week when I was standing at the edge of the lake looking from downtown Detroit into Windsor, Ontario, I was like, could I swim and get away with it? Because I did not see any guards.
I'm going. I want to be free.
I mean, granted, I can't swim, and I would probably die of exhaustion within the first 2 strokes of going. But I mean, still, it was worth the effort.
What would be really funny is if the aliens come and pick you up, and then they just drop your ass off in Canada.
I'm okay with that. I mean,
you're like, oh, there's not a whole planet. It was just Canada all along.
It was just Canada. But again, I've been to Canada. You've been to Canada. Would you complain about that?
No, I would not. Canada's lit, yo.
Yeah, it really is. They're a much more advanced species than we ever could be.
I don't know how they evolved.
I mean, seriously, think about it. They have free healthcare. They have Coffee Crisp candy.
Oh, the Coffee Crisp.
Yes. I'm going to hurt your feelings for a moment here, but I bought myself a big old stack of Coffee Crisp candies.
You
last
whore.
Week. Thank you.
I bet you're just shoveling those in your mouth like the big whore you are too.
Well, so you know me and my bouginess, if you could say.
Yes.
So I do like to sample and try things from across the world, which obviously the first time you shared the idea of Coffee Crisp, I was like, what? And at the time, yeah. Okay, and I'll be honest with you, I can't take these people like, oh, coffee ice cream and coffee lattes and coffee candy. And I'm like, no, I like coffee. And then I like ice cream, but it doesn't have to have coffee in it. And I like candy, and I don't want that. So when you first said this, I was kind of like, because it's coffee and candy. I don't give a shit.
Right.
But at the same time, I was like, but it's from Canada and not sold here. I have to try it. And that was the only reason I gave a shit to try it, was just because it was from Canada and not in the U.S. So it was, it was when I was going to Niagara that time, it was for me a treat.
Right.
So I went and I happened to be, I had a little bit of a headache. So I went into one of their drugstores to get a thing of ibuprofen. And I saw the Coffee Crisps while I was in there. So I was like, oh, here's that bar that Theda was telling me about. I'm going to buy one. I bought one. I leave the store. I take a bite of it. I took another bite of it. I walked right back in and bought the rest of the display. Because even though I'm not a fan of coffee, chocolate in a candy bar or ice cream, I was dying for it, yeah. So it was not only worth trying because it was different, but it was literally like life-changing addictive. So
I know they're so good. I don't know what they do to make them like the wafer's so like light and
I
flaky in
know.
it, and then
And
the weird
yeah.
stuff in the middle is like chocolate coffee.
Yes, and I actually one of my favorite things too because I go to that store, Cost Plus World Market in
Yeah.
Michigan, and there's one like an hour away from where I live. But it's one of those like I always go there when I'm up visiting my brother, so I just usually get stockpile when I'm there. But they do have the whole international section, and one of the favorite things I saw when I was there, I got the mochi candies from Japan because they sell those.
Mm-hmm.
But I also found a whole bunch of different British candies stuff that's from England. Like they have the Aero bars and all that. But I find it funny because like even the stuff like Aero bar you can find in the US obviously, but for some reason the ones that they sell in England are not quite as sugary sweet. They're actually much better for that reason. So this actual last trip was I stockpiled on some coffee crisp candies, and then I bought like a bunch of I bought the tea cake candies and the snowballs, and I bought the bounty bars and some Aero bars and all that good stuff. So I actually am like very slowly and casually enjoying my way through the sugars of the world. So
God, girl, you got a stockpile.
I'm telling you, I do it right. That's also why my waistline is like,
Ooh, Corona got I keep trying and like I'll lose a couple pounds and then I'll be like, what does it matter? I'm stuck in the house. Let me just eat this ice cream.
Well, and I think this was the day you were unable to chat with us. So I don't even know if you got to read back on it, but we had our little group text with Light and Sunny and Dark and Stormy going the one day. And me and Dark and Stormy were talking to each other about how we both have been like trying to actively do stuff to not add any more weight because, obviously we packed on some pounds during the whole quarantine and whatnot. And, she's really good, especially about her daily walks, et cetera, et cetera. But I said to her very simply, and it was funny because we both agreed. I was like, we can work out every goddamn day, but the minute we decide to sit on the couch for 10 minutes, we add 5 pounds.
That's true.
And it's like, Jesus, can you please come down and tell me why you're cursing me so? Like, I try to be skinny. I try to be normal,
And I will tell you what, like, I just keep like, I've never been one to watch a lot of TV, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so like, during quarantine, I've just found myself like binging like stupid shit that I never would have in a million years watched. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm like halfway through the 4th season of Vampire Diaries, which is some stupid ass shit. But what else I got to do with my life but eat some snacks and watch Vampire Diaries.
That is one of the biggest strains that you and I have as friends is because I try to sit there and consistently talk reality trashy TV shows and movies, et cetera, and you're always like, I
know, yeah. That is one thing that we've never been in sync on is because I've never watched a ton of TV and you always have loved that. And I never know who the hell you're talking about.
Yeah. But ironically, the funny thing is when we start talking, if I start talking TV shows, I can talk about specific characters, et cetera, but you're good with this part though. You say the person's real name. I have no damn clue who you're talking about. For the longest time, you would be going on and on about Benedict Cumberbatch, and I'm
my
like,
boyfriend.
Who? Because in my opinion, his name was Sherlock Holmes.
Well, I'm gonna say that I am smitten with Benedict Cumberbatch, but I'm pretty certain that I'm actually smitten with Sherlock Holmes, the fictional character, as played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and not Benedict Cumberbatch himself.
Well, he is one and the same, so. I mean,
because
granted, he may solve crimes on a TV show, but I think he would solve some crimes for me in the bedroom too. So,
oh, girl, I would hope so.
Because I'd be creating some crimes with him. Just saying.
It was gonna look like a murder scene after you got done with my pussy. Woo! But,
amen. Yeah.
Hey, but yeah, because I got a thing for emotionally unavailable men with anxiety disorders that so that's my thing. That's why I love Sherlock Holmes. So
I don't even know how to answer that. So that was kind of epic. Just gonna say.
Well, we wanted to talk talk about my marriage today. So
that is true. That's why I was kind of like, oh, are we going there now? Like,
I was like, well, what a perfect segue. Theda got some issues, so
and I will say you did have a Sherlock Holmes kind of a situation going on for a little while.
I did, but it didn't turn out exactly as
planned.
As planned. So
we're gonna spill some tea right now.
Girl, got my cup. Let's spill it. A cup runneth over.
I say your cup is just turned over and pouring out.
Spilling.
Yes.
So
I'm just going to start off by saying there have been a few alluded comments in past episodes of our show for those of you who are regularly listening, and for those of you who haven't, re-listen and catch up. But obviously we had some, little bit of it, if you could call it insidery, that was not our story to share at the time. So
yes.
But now it's Theda's turn to shine and spill that tea all over the place.
Speak, bitch. Speak your piece.
Speak it.
Yeah, so I as Maxine said, we did have to. I've made some alluded to something going on a little bit deeper, and I've mentioned many times that I'm recently single, and so after 24 years of marriage, my husband came to me right before the whole world shut down in the pandemic and told me that he identifies as a woman. And let me just say, did not see that one coming.
And let me just back you on the fact that when I first heard this, I also did not see that coming.
Let me tell you what, y'all, that turned me upside down, inside out, all around. Like, if I think back, and if anybody who doesn't know my ex, I would say that he was very Sherlock Holmes in his intelligence level, which is one of the things
yeah, very much.
Yeah, it was absolutely, drew me to him. Anybody that can talk smart to me, even if I don't understand what you're saying.
Calculus.
Drop my panties in a minute. But along with that was a lot of neurosis. And I thought, for the longest time that came with the intelligence, that, a lot of people who are hyper intelligent, have anxiety, have, a lot of different neuroses in part with that. Come to find out that no, that wasn't the case.
No, not at all.
That may have played into it. But in fact, it was dysphoria. And that was, being extraordinarily problematic and causing extreme anxiety and all kinds of issues for a very, very long time. And I'm going to say it's the hardest, weirdest thing I think I've ever gone through. And I've been through a lot of shit in my life.
That you have. Just knowing that you escaped from a cult at a young age,
True, right?
Yeah, like
I've been through a lot of weird stuff in my life, and this is by far, I think, one of the most challenging. I think, the hard part is, and I was actually telling my ex, who's now Alexis, I was telling her this last night. Because we've been doing a good job of like having some heart to hearts and really trying to get to a point where we can have a really good friendship, because we have decided not to stay married. I'm not exactly, we did a lot, there was a lot of damage done over the years of marriage with hiding who you are, or not hiding, but not acknowledging and understanding who you are.
In its own right, it was hiding, but it was obviously due to the societal norms and not knowing how to deal with not feeling comfortable in yourself. So
right. And so there's a lot of damage done. And by the point, get to that point 24 years in, like you can't undo that damage at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling her last night, I was like, the hardest part is like I have all these feelings of like betrayal and loss and like, very frustrated, angry emotions. And I feel really isolated and alone because, she's come out to the world, her family, our friends, and it's all, everybody has been really kind and loving and supporting as they should be. Mm-hmm. But it's hard when you're over here still trying to process it and dealing with like those layers of emotion that are not all positive. And if you say anything, you're a dick and not being supportive. And it's like, okay, but wait.
Yeah. You're like, but hi, I'm right here.
But you don't understand. I just spent 24 years trying to make something work that was never going to work. And now how am I supposed to step out and trust another motherfucker going forward?
But on top of that, you also not only went through all of that, but you have also been very kind, supportive, helpful, and assisting.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I stepped up.
Et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, like, I agree with you in what you're saying. People will very quickly and easily look at you as the asshole.
Yeah.
But they're not seeing the whole conglomerate of a story around it, too.
Yeah, and that's really hard. Like, I have stepped up. I have, been...
And you've handled it all very gracefully, I must say.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Been, as kind as possible. I taught her how to do her makeup. I help her figure out how to, find clothes that fit. I, will use her preferred pronouns and I will support her. And if anybody comes at her, I will fuck a bitch up. Yeah. But, there is still, and I think that was, one of the reasons that I thought it was important when we talked about it is because if there's, people out there in the same situation as me, like, you need to feel like you're allowed to have all those emotions, whether or not they're considered a negative feeling or not, because like, you just spent all these years with somebody. Like,
but the thing is those are your feelings and nobody else's. Just like their coming out was based on their feelings and their. So, I mean, when there's a two-way street involved, you can't just look at one side of the street all the time. You have to look at both parts. And even in situations and circumstances like that, where, like you said, it may look like the other side of the road is damaged and torn, but maybe it's just the angle you're seeing it from.
Yeah, and it's like, it's hard because, I'm not even fully confident that my sexuality is 100% binary with just men. Mm-hmm. I really, I've been talking it through with my therapist, and I think I'm just really attracted to big dick energy, whether that's a man or a woman.
Which is why I keep trying to convince you into lesbianness.
Look, girl, I am exploring it. Don't you worry.
And this is the thing. I will not hate you if you stick to just dick, and I won't love you less if you go to lesbian. That's just saying.
Thank you.
Well, and here's actually, and I'm really glad you were saying too about the whole, your perception of it and how quickly you may look like the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because I actually had a scenario that happened to me years ago that I was turned into the bad guy really quickly. And I felt it when it was all said and done, I was able to look back and I was like, well, that was very unfair of you. Because I had a friend who was a female to male transition and started going through this transition. I had no qualms with it. I didn't give a shit. But the part that I felt was the hardest was it was she originally, but now he came to me wanting to have that whole conversation about what he was doing to become a man because I was a drag queen. Now,
well, how do those two equate?
That's the problem, because I'm a man that dresses as a woman. She was a female who's turning into a man. They may seem similar in its own way.
But they're not.
And the thing was I didn't care. I was supportive. I was still like, we're friends. We're cool. You do you, I do me. But I'm sorry. I can be there as a friend, but I can't understand because I'm comfortable in my skin.
Yes.
I never have wanted to be a woman. I just like being a gaudy entertainer.
Yes.
That doesn't make me ignorant or a hater. It doesn't make me any less supportive. It just means I can't understand what you're going through in your scenario.
Yes.
So again, on that level, it's like, people have to realize and understand that trans issues, if you can call it, are things that we don't understand because we're not going through it. But that doesn't mean you can't be supportive of it. But trans community needs to understand that as well. So it's a two-way street again, you know?
Yeah, there has to be some leeway for learning, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I'm stumbling through this the best I can.
Yeah.
You know, and the rest of our family is we're, you know, trying definitely to figure out how to best be supportive, and we all are rooting for Alexis to live her most authentic life and be
Fabulous,
and
because
fabulous. Yes,
we're
girl.
gonna okay, so there's actually, I'm gonna backtrack on that for a second
Okay.
too.
Okay.
So the first time you shared the picture of Alexis with me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and your makeup critiques?
No, well, yes, but no. Now, okay, so with the makeup critiques, I've been, oh Jesus God, 20 years now as a drag queen.
It
Jesus
is true.
Christ.
Yes.
Maxine's almost able to go to the porn store in Vegas one more year.
Finally.
Yes. But that's gonna always be, I'm always gonna be a hard critic with that kind of shit. But for the first time doing it and not really knowing how to, damn, she looked good.
Yes, I was a good teacher with my rudimentary skills because, you know, I'm not
Yeah.
nearly as good as, you know, some of these bitches with their makeup. I can do some, you know, I have
Well,
my basic set of skill that
you
I
have
can.
natural beauty. You don't have to deal with all the
Oh, thank
excess.
you.
But
But I can do a minimal face beat when I need to.
yeah, exactly. And you hung around the drag community enough to kind of get the basics. But
Exactly. But
yeah,
it's like, you know, also like you were saying, like, you know, it's a different entity. Like, you know, I ain't
yeah,
gonna be trying to apply drag face to somebody that is a woman because
exactly. Because
drag
it's,
makeup is not the same. It doesn't
yeah,
look, it's not made for day work.
yeah. Most genetically born women don't need to cover up a 5 o'clock shadow. You know,
True story.
just saying.
That's not true. I have a
Yeah.
few friends.
That's why I said most. I didn't say all. I said most.
As we age, honey, it
Yeah,
comes in.
because we all know those girls.
Yeah. Tell you what,
But
I got a few hairs on my chin that are very persistent.
a few hairs on your chinny chin.
Yes, my dear.
But so here's, okay, so that was my first statement. My second one though is I do have some beef with Alexis.
Okay.
Because I was I was a little thrown off because I go onto my Facebook feed the one day and I had seen this lovely long message of explaining and telling the world her truth.
Yes.
Which it was very well written, very articulate, very explanatory, and I loved how she left it. She did a nice job. She left it open for people to have conversation and ask questions, but she also was giving enough of the basics to sit there and say, listen, either way you look at it, this is me and I'm going to do me and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But she said one thing on there that pissed me off a little bit. So she sits there and says that, you know, with this whole transition process, blah, 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 she realizes that, you know, Theda and Alexis talked it out and they're definitely not meant to continue staying married. But this transition has caused them to become the best of friends. Bitch, don't come for my game. Because I worked my ass off for that position.
Okay, but just let me give you this little piece of tidbit knowledge here, okay, girl. So last night while we were having that heart to heart, one of the things we were talking about was, you know, I was saying I need to get to a space with her where we can really, really be those good friends going forward because, you know, if she ever gets married again, I was like, I want to be your maid of honor. And like, you know, I want to be at that space where we can do that. And then she was like, okay, but can I be your maid of honor at your wedding? And I was like, no, that's Mike.
She could be the flower girl.
So don't worry, girl. You are not usurped. Don't worry.
I literally was. It was funny too because I'm reading her long, beautiful, wonderful post, and then I'm literally, you know, enjoying and embracing it and having a wonderful read. And I get to that line, and I was like, "Bitch." And then part of me was like, how do I sit there and politely call a bitch out in a reply to this text, to this post, without all of her family like attacking my ass?
Don't worry, girl. I got you.
Yeah.
I already laid the ground rules. Maxine first.
Yes. It's true.
Maxine number one, always.
Always and forever.
Yes.
Just like fucking Alyssa Edwards.
Exactly, bitch. Always and forever. You ain't going nowhere.
But, and again, okay, so similar to the story about the guy stealing a 3-foot dildo, and all I'm doing is looking at how pretty this huge porn store is. I'm reading this whole entire post, and I fixate on the line. And we're now the best of friends. And I was like, no, you ain't. No. You're the second best of friends.
Yeah. Well, what also kind of shook me about that post though was kind of like thrown out my Theda can talk to you about her sexuality. Bitch, no, I cannot. My business, not Facebook's business.
And that was something funny you said, because I did notice that, but I also felt it was maybe just maybe I was reading it wrong, because I knew it was basically she was saying Theda's story is hers to tell and not mine.
Right.
But I did catch that, but I was also still in my feels about her saying that you two were best friends.
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, how this turn about? Yes. I ain't got nothing to say to nobody about that right now.
We are two rancid, rotten, evil bitches, because we will sit there and take 2 words out of an entire thing and spin the whole story to our liking.
Right? We'll be like, hold up.
Yeah.
I don't care about the rest of this. Did you see this shit right here?
Exactly.
It's all beautiful, kind, and we're just like, wait a minute.
And I'll sit there and say, if Alexis were, if this wasn't the path she was taking, and she decided to, he stayed a he, and the marriage was as, by sitting there saying, oh, we're best of friends, we're husband and wife. I get that. But don't sit there and now that you're one of the Judys with us, no.
Not happening.
You could be part of the flawless squad, but you cannot be the leader.
Right?
You're the Gretchen Wiener, honey.
Yeah. But it is hard though, coming out and like, having that and having this post and talking about us being, that. And there is, as we're talking about, it's easy to make me look like the bad guy. I'm terrified that, exploring my sexuality after 24 years of marriage and knowing that I've always, been on kind of a path where I'm not exactly 100% picky. There's a certain set of characteristics that I like about people.
No fish pics.
Right. Like, it's like I was trying to say, it's that big dick energy, like whether it's a man or a woman, like I need somebody to come in who's going to be like, very commanding with their personality and very, intelligent. And, I need a Sherlock Holmes, whether it's woman or man, but with a little bit less neurosis this time around, please. And thank you. And, it's hard because it's like, if I end up with a woman, then it's like, how do you explain to your kids and, family that, I left my husband when she became a woman.
To now date a woman.
Date a woman. When at a certain point it was,
it was all the other stuff around it.
Though. Yeah. But it's like, you don't need to air that dirty. It's hard because people expect you to justify your choices and your actions.
Yes.
And they don't fucking deserve it. And it's not right. But then on the other hand, you do end up looking like a giant dildo.
Yeah. and I will be the first to sit there and say, because, obviously I have insider information, if you want to call it that. I can sit there and say, if anybody wants to come after you, you direct them to me, because I have known and seen the things that have gone on for years. No, don't get it twisted. It's not like she lived a horrible life and the two of them were. No, it's not like that. But I do know, especially once Alexis was announced, if you can say.
Yeah.
It actually started to make a lot of the marriage disconnect click and make sense.
Yes.
And the thing was, and that's exactly it. Because I almost feel too, like, it's one of those, like, I feel like this was going to happen in the marriage, whether it was going to be through Alexis or not.
It's true. Yep.
it's just this helped answer a lot of questions, but helped actually make it understood why it needs to happen.
Yep. Yep. You are so
So,
right.
yeah.
And it's, at the end of the day, I don't owe anybody anything. And if they want to
You
make me a
don't.
bad guy,
Yeah.
they can. But I also understand and wanted to kind of speak to the other side of it for anybody that's out there dealing with this and going through it. That, it's real, it's hard, and you'll get to a
Yeah.
place eventually where you're okay. But in the meantime, it's hard not to
Yeah.
look like the bad guy. It's hard to.
I'm just happy that this is probably going to sound weird when I say it, but I'm happy that it was somebody like you that it happened to, though, because you are at least somebody who is genuinely not prejudiced.
Yeah.
And it's somebody that, because can you imagine like some type of women that he could have been married to having to come out as a she? And how
Yeah.
ugly that could have turned. And at least he has somebody who has and always was and will be an ally to all sex
Yeah, and I think for
of
her,
humanity. And
it's been really actually incredibly fortunate because her
yeah,
entire family has been super, at least the family that's
yeah,
spoken to her has been super supportive. My whole family is super supportive and
yeah.
kind because, I mean, we've been married 24 years, so they all
Hmm.
know her dearly.
But also to your whole family is very open about so many things
Yeah.
that, again, it's one of those, for her sake, it couldn't have happened to a better person with a better family.
Yeah. I mean, just the
So,
amount of love and support that she got coming out is great.
mhm.
But even with that, there's still a lot of confusion and hurt and pain. And that's
Yeah,
normal and that's okay. And
yeah.
if you're going through it, hit me up, girls and gentlemen. I've got, tips and tricks for you. Knee deep in it. I
And
got
I
you.
got just the tip.
As always, my dear.
Yes.
Speaking of just the tip, what's your bougie tip of the week, my
Mm,
dear?
I'm rubbing
Or
my
bougie
nipples as you
pick?
say that.
You aren't your
Well,
nipples pierced?
yes, they are.
I've
Mhm.
been thinking about doing that, but we'll see.
Yes.
We'll talk about that
And,
next week.
yeah. And actually, now for those listening who may not know this, I just want to start off before I go into my bougie pick by explaining that Theda and I don't pre-plan anything. We
No.
we literally text each other a couple ideas of what we want to talk about. So, like, to give you an example, she sent me in the middle of the week about the guy with the massive dildo from the store. She's like, "Here's this link. I think it's funny to talk about." That's all we talk about prior to. There's
Yep.
no conversation, etc. So I find it kind of ironic sometimes how things work out with my bougie pick of the week.
Okay.
And it was, and with your whole conversation that you just had, but I actually looked at the week that you had. Now, Theta obviously has been going through a plethora of family things, as we just heard.
Yes.
But also, Theta is a, very, very important career woman.
True.
She is a mother. She's a mother effer. Oh, no. But she's,
Depends on the
yeah.
day.
Just the days and why. No.
Yeah.
But not only that, but she's also an author. She just had a new book release that she was part of an anthology. So would you like to share that too real quick? Because I want you to get some.
Oh, yes. The Anthology for the Rite of Passion online literary journal. You can Google and search up Rite of Passion, and it'll come right up for you.
Yep.
It just released an anthology called Fractured Realities with 13 short stories in it.
Yes, and yours is flawless because, of course, that was the only one I cared to read at first.
Thank you.
I'll get to the other ones eventually. But
did you get the because when I wrote that, I was like channeling the xenomorph from Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No.
channeling that xenomorph vibe.
You
Mother
have a very
alien bitch.
let me just say you have a very good way of explaining things whether you try to or not. So
Thank you.
you do a good job of a lot of that. Yeah. But anyway, so with all that in mind, there's something that I like to do as part of my bouginess that is all about taking that moment for yourself and having that little bit of self-love.
Mm-hmm.
And I call it pretty time.
Oh yes, pretty time.
And I was thinking to myself that I actually posted on my Instagram on my personal page at Maxine Factor, and obviously Theda's is at Theta Valley, and our podcast channel page is at Those Two Queens, all on Instagram. But I put on there as my header for it that you may take this personally, because it's about personal health and growth, and that moment that you need to take for yourself to feel good.
Yes.
And I'll tell you exactly what my pretty time looks like, but this is up for, anybody's interpretation of what makes them feel happy. But I felt like I needed you to hear this too, because hearing the week that you had and knowing how always busy and doing and going, you need to also take this time for yourself once in a while.
It is true. I'm not good at it.
Yeah. So I actually, in lieu of my bouginess, I usually, when I reach that point in my week, or even sometimes that month, because, if it's a slower month, I don't need to do it as often, but whatever. One of my favorite things to do is I will go and buy myself a couple pieces of fancy chocolate. So you don't have to break the bank with it. You can go to one of those bougie chocolatier boutiques and just buy 2 or 3 pieces of candy from it. You don't have to break the bank. I'm not a drinker, so I usually, one of my ways of treating myself beverage-wise is with a Diet Coke. So I take those, and then I have all of my big, fluffy, furry throw pillows for my bed, and I usually curl up in bed with my little candies, my Diet Coke, and I put on a fun Netflix movie, or, find a slew of YouTube videos to watch, and I take an hour or two. I take my phone, and I put it away, and I enjoy myself.
Yes.
And I don't care about the outside world. I don't care about everything else that's been going on. This is my moment for me.
Yes, I think more of us need to learn how to disconnect like that for just a short period of time.
So even if it's, even if you want to set a timer for 30 minutes just to force yourself to do it, take, if you're, so like me, I'm very visually stimulated, so I need to watch TVs and movies. But like for somebody like you, grab a glass of wine or a cup of tea and sit in the corner by a window and read a book, or look out the window, or go sit in the park for a little bit and just forget everything else going on and just focus on you.
Yes. I think that's so important and such a good reminder right now too.
Thank you. Oh, that's true. But I think it's very, very, very important that everybody participates in some pretty time. Because if you can't feel pretty on the inside, you're going to be spewing some hate on the outside, honey.
You're going to look ugly on the outside, bitches.
Yes. And we all know I don't like ugly, so.
All right. Well, then I highly recommend all of you people out there taking Miss Maxine's recommendation and get some pretty time.
And I recommend you do the same. Because you deserve it, Theda.
Yes, I do. I'm going to. I'm going to.
Good.
You know what, though? I got that big ass, really nice bath upstairs.
Oh, you do. Actually, okay. I'm sorry. I know we're trying to end this, but can we talk about your shower with the big heads on both sides that attack your back while it attacks your front?
Yes, that shower is magnificent with the dual heads on it. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, the first time I went to visit Theda, I took my morning shower and I was like, "You guys enjoy your day. I'm going to spend mine up here."
I know that's probably the worst part of the whole divorce is that we're going to sell the house and I'm losing my because we can't. Neither of us can afford it on our own.
Understood. But
then I'm going to lose my bathtub and dual head shower.
Your privileges.
No.
You're gonna lose your shower privileges.
Yeah, it's sad. So I better get that pretty time into the bathtub while I can.
Exactly. Yes, run.
Right. All right, people. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We will be back next week with some more tea and maybe a little shade.
It's all shade, honey.
So until then, it's Two Queens. Check it out.
Check it out. Bye, bitches.